everyone, this is your boys DeSoccerfan, coming out with you episode 10. 10 is gonna be in three parts because each one with their own recap of the year with Pred, Fault, and Overprime. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. At the moment, you're gonna see a blank screen because I still haven't cropped in Sockcap onto the left because we're trying to record this on the fly. But yeah, you know what I mean. Just we're recording on Twitch at the moment, and so edit it after on YouTube. So yeah, so whoever's here. But yeah, you know what I mean. Sockcap. For people who don't know you for some reason, who are you?
I stream on Twitch. Heavily invested in the Paragon remakes. I pretty much don't give a shit about most other games, and we're gonna try to maybe do a little bit more with YouTube when Preg comes out. Other than that, there's not much to me. I work full time at a shit plant, wastewater plant. I'm a dad. I'm old as fuck. That's pretty much it.
Old
So
as fuck. Nah, man. Like I'm a what? I work every day. Me too. I work every day, bro. Like I'm in there. Well, now I'm back. I'm home because I got COVID. So yeah, big rip on that. But not big rip because I stay home and not chill. Like I don't
yeah,
care.
you sound okay though. That's like the good thing. Maybe you're like asymptomatic or whatever. You don't or do you have like any do you feel bad or anything or have any
I
sort of
had
symptoms?
the first day. Well, 2 days ago it was like the flu, and then what was it? The flu, and now yesterday and today is just coughing. You know me, straight coughing. So it's just like I went to all the testing is bugged. Went to go do a take home test and came up positive. So now I'm in my room because you're the what? The black sheep of the family right now. You're like, nah, get away from me.
Right. The plague rat.
Yeah, right. Get away from me. So it's me and my sister that got sick. So it's whatever though. But we're here to talk about Pred, and so what I mean, very little has been said about Pred, which is in my opinion, is bad because what I mean. Like we hear what I want to hear from Pratt is like more information, more always down for like details and stuff. You know what I mean? Like not once every like 4 months or something. You know what I mean? I'm not. Me particularly, I hate that shit. And so we're gonna back when. Well, I guess that's be that. I don't want to go back and refer to Fault. That's gonna be its own little fucking video over there when the Fault comes out.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like being secretive and not telling public a lot of stuff, it's a good and a bad thing, but to me it's more of a bad thing keeping your public in the shadows, you know what I mean? Because we're all here because we want to fucking know more about Pred, if
Right.
anything, you know what I mean? I don't know how's your take on that.
Yeah, I mean I think it's been kind of uh slow for them this year. And I mean I think that they from the get-go really haven't, and it's like every few months we get, every 2 months, 3 months, something like that, we'll get like a sizable piece of information about their game. Yeah, I think that they tweet out a little bit more often than that, but in terms of like actual like big news or whatever, it's kind of slow. I I don't know. I mean, I think that it's they don't really need to post too much information. It does suck, but they don't really have to because I feel like they've got kind of they're in kind of like a nice place to be in terms of all these remakes because they're not out yet, so there's no real judgment or anything like that, and all of their like previous play tests have been like pretty positive aside from like the last one. So I don't think there's any like real rush for them, but I do think that they uh, probably shouldn't wait too much longer because I think the last post that they made on social media is probably like the most negative one that I've seen, where people are just tired of fucking waiting. So um, I think that they need to get. I mean, I guess I feel like personally their game's in a state where uh, it could be, as long as they got the back end stuff sorted out. Their game's in a state right now to where it could be released EA, and I think people would enjoy it. So, I mean, as soon as that back end stuff gets worked out for them, um, once they get that sorted out, I personally, if I was in charge of it, would say, okay, it's time to go EA. So,
Yeah, you know what I mean. I can feel the same thing. You know what I mean. In the beginning of the year, for Pride at least, you know what I mean. They announced they did a final closing of funding, and so they were able to get 2.2 million, which was like, you know what I mean. At least for an indie studio, this it was pretty. You know what I mean. It's pretty. I guess decent. I want to say for at least an indie studio. Um, I should have that muted. Uh,
no, you
yeah,
good.
you know what I mean. 2.2. You know what I mean. Sounds like a lot, but at the same time, like for a MOBA, it's just that's kind of that's kind of low because you know what I mean. Like I was looking at their latest partnership with the back end service and all that stuff. You know, it's like it costs like about like 3 grand each month, and it's just I was like, hold up, 3 grand each month on top of whatever they gotta spend for like their facilities and their employees and all that stuff. Like it's kind of that's kind of crazy, you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah, I don't know how they're structured. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know who gets paid in their team because I know at least like for Fault, it was pretty much like volunteer work in the beginning, and now the game's been out for like a good while, and people do get paid now, but I don't know how it is for them. I mean, I don't think that their expenses are that much right now, so I'm not too worried about that. But um, once once the game comes out, I think you're right. The what was it, like 2.2 mil is sounds like a lot, and a lot of people were like, when they made that announcement, a lot of people were like, "Oh shit, they have like way more money than all these other studios." This is absolutely not the case. Um, so when they and that's I think another reason why when they release they'll be paid EA. There's no doubt in my mind it'll be paid EA, and maybe that might piss some people off. I doubt it though. I think people are pretty excited to play. But I mean, it's big for them that they got that grant, and it's also big for them that or that the investors that invested 2.2 million. And from my understanding with that too is that there's potential for more money afterwards. So if things go well, there's potential for a lot more.
well, remember, and then the 2.2 is just like you said, investors, and investors are not gonna be happy if you know what I mean if they now you got investors included into this whole mess compared to maybe like the other companies where they're just buying themselves. You know what I mean? The investors are gonna be like, I put in so much money in now. I want it to be more like this or but like that, or I want to see more. Uh, what was it? I can't remember right now. Like more in game current. What do you say?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
microtransactions, stuff like
I couldn't think of it. Oh my goodness,
that.
microtransactions. They're gonna be more microtransactions and all that stuff, and then like, you know what I mean. I guess they're gonna be pumping out more skins or season passes, whatever. You know what I mean. Like they're gonna try to make as more as as much microtransactions as possible, and I don't know if that's gonna be either a good thing or bad thing. You know what I mean? We don't know yet, or at least I don't know. I just you know what I
But,
mean.
I mean, there's always potential when you. I mean, that's the one thing that's like, uh, not to talk about Fall again, but the one thing that's like at least semi reassuring is even if you don't like the direction that they're going with the game. I mean, it is just them making the decisions, so there's no like outside influence or anything like that. But those things, like I don't think that outside influence is necessarily like a negative thing right off the bat. It can be, but that it also can be a good thing, because these people might have a better idea of how to run a fucking company or what they're looking for. But um, so I don't think it's inherently like a negative thing, and I do think that right. I think at some point down the road they probably will expect some sort of profit and take some sort of cut from it or something along those lines. Is another reason why I think that it'll be pay to play in EA when it comes out. But I don't know.
Yeah, and also during that, what was it, during that same month they also showed off like the new UI interface rehalls, which I don't know if it was. I didn't get to play the the beta that was or the early, what was it, the stress test I was in back in July. So
Mm.
since you did, I did, like, I don't know if those interfaces were the same as the ones they mentioned back in March.
No, they didn't put that interface in yet for the UI. It was still the old one. So I mean, I don't. I think that what they showed off was more of a concept, I guess, than I don't know how done it is, right? But I mean, I think that's probably what they're gonna go with because they actually posted about it not too long ago. I think um, just the other day they posted another tweet about the UI. I think it looks good, so and I would expect that we'd see that at some point soon. Um,
Yeah, it looks
but
sleek.
yeah,
It reminds me back of, like, made a video about it when it came out, or like a week or two. It reminds me back of Paragon. Basically, I said it was like, it feels, gives me those nostalgia glance. I was like, all right, reminds me of Paragon. You know what I mean? Like, I,
right,
I like the vibe of it, so I was like, all right, can't hate. And then
yeah,
right after that, all the way back in June, we got some surprising news. There was hints and drops about it. About Steve Superville joining Omega Studios, which a lot of people don't know who he is, by the way, which kind of surprises me a lot. If I was
I,
like,
I think a lot of people are the Paragon player base is a lot of them are pretty casual, so I wouldn't expect too many people to know who that was, but I don't think so. I don't know. And somebody mentioned it in my chat. They said the 2.2 mil was just to get Superville. I don't think that that's true unless you know something that I don't. But um, from the way they worded it, they said he came on as an advisor. So I don't even think he's necessarily part of the dev team. I think he's just
he's just like a
basically a
consultant,
yeah,
if you think about it. But no, I don't think the 2.2 had to good, to bring him involved, because if anything, uh, there'd be a difference of, hey, we got him into the team, like into the dev team, compared to like, oh, he's just an advisor. Like,
right,
those are two different little things right there, in my opinion. I mean, if I'm glad they brought him as an advisor, because you're talking about like what, like the maker of Paragon, basically bring, still still really huge, in their part, because they have the guidance of, you have his guidance and knowledge of how like, not to replicate the same thing, but how to make it just as good as Paragon feels. You know what I mean?
right. I think a lot of people enjoyed Legacy, and then there was kind of a different crowd that enjoyed early Monolith, and I think it was like pretty universal that most people disliked late Monolith, like towards the end of the game's life for Paragon. So I, mean, I don't think it's bad. He definitely had kind of like a different take, and it was a slower paced game back then. All of like Legacy, I think, was more of his game design, and Monolith was after he was out, if I remember correctly. So I mean, yeah, I think it's definitely can't hurt anything to have him on as an advisor. I just the only thing that uh, I hope that they would trust themselves more so than kind of banking off of one person to make decisions or whatever. I don't think that they're doing that, but I'm just saying, you know, I think that Steve had like a pretty good thing going with like early Paragon, but it still had like its issues, I guess. And ultimately, if they try to like remake Paragon, I don't think that it will take off or do very well. I think that we're past that point. We need people to kind of be a little bit more creative. Fuck you, North. Uh, I'm gonna have to turn this shit off. Fuck. I didn't even think about that.
No, no, you're good. I don't hear it, and so I just have it recording your voice, so you're good. I yeah, I can't hear it, so that's fine. Let me see. Yeah, it doesn't pick it up. It only picks up your mic, so you're good. I was kind of expecting that too. I was like, let's see, but nah, you're good. It only picks up your mic, so that's fine.
Yeah, I just turned it off. North, stop wasting your points, dude.
And
I can't have people screaming in my ear while I'm trying to have a conversation.
nah, um, you know what I mean? Like bringing him along, he has like knowledge of way back then. You know what I mean? So that's an added plus. You know what I mean? And then, like you said, he was a creative mind. Back in Legacy, they let him let him go, but he just sat in the sidelines. Back in Monolith, basically after Monolith, that yeah, he's like, okay, you know what, you guys do your thing, and then you know what I mean. That's why he had a bad like feeling of not bad feeling. He just had a bad falling out with the company, and that's why he left. If I'm not mistaken, Epic.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened with him. I thought that when Big Bad Donald Mustard came, he kind of replaced Steve, or maybe they weren't getting the numbers that they wanted or whatever, so they figured it was time for a change, and they
Whoa, you're not gonna
booted him.
get the same Fortnite numbers. Like if you compared that compared to Fortnite numbers back then, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Like Epic was like, well, I want those Fortnite numbers, and just like, I don't know about bringing that into MOBA.
Yeah, well, that stuff I think happened way before Fortnite even came out. I think they were just trying to do something more with Paragon, and just never really worked out.
And then after Super Steve Super would join, back in what is it, end of July, early of August. That's when the I just gotta say it. That was a really shitty test. What was it?
Stress test.
Stress test or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. They had it was that was holy crap shitty because I was like I was planning on to get the day off, and I saw you guys doing what the day before they had a like a streamer's what like test run or whatever, or like showing it off like, the day before, right?
Right. Yeah, they had some like invited people to like
You
test
were
the
part
game.
of it, right?
Oh hell no, they don't like me. No, I'm banned from the fucking Discord too, man.
Oh no,
I'm a troublemaker.
I don't believe you.
Hey, listen, I don't think I am, but apparently I am. So I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think you're a troublemaker. If anything, I'm a troublemaker from whatever drama that came up before. So we're good.
No, so my problem with Omega has always been it's maybe just a little bit of kind of a small thing that irritates me. I don't think it's necessarily a big deal, but the way that they like word things, right? We're talking about like with Steve Superville. They said, "Oh, we brought him on the team as an advisor." Okay, well that's like pretty vague and non-specific, and I feel like when they use language like that, they're trying to make people think that he's
He's a
on the
part of the
team,
team, yeah.
right? But he's not, right? And I also have just not ever seen the guy after that announcement, like ever be in the chat, type anything, tweet about them, or anything like that. Like he seems very much withdrawn and not an active part of the game, right? So, but it was the same. They use the same language for like the stress test, which was like, and they do this all the time. There's more examples too, but for the stress
Oh no,
test,
yeah, yeah. For the stretch test, if I'm not mistaken, they after it ended horribly, they said I give it.
It was a big success. You know, thank you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. It was like we're closing the access now. We're gonna continue on working and expanding our servers. You know, what I mean, like we understand. How are you? Yeah, when you say that's a success, I was like, hold up. You know what I mean? First of all, you cut it. You know it was only up for a couple hours, and then you guys ended because you couldn't hold it. Don't get me wrong. I guess in some type of way you could see it as like, oh yeah, you know what I mean, we were able to get so much people like interested in our game, but overall nobody got to play it. It was like what
Right.
out of 20,000 people, only at most 100 players were able to play it. Like
Yeah,
how
I got one game like for an entire day. It's a, if that shows you how fucking sad and depressed I am. I sat fucking on stream and just talked to people and for like 8 hours and got one game, and that's what I did with my day. I just sit in this chair and look at the fucking menus. It was rough, but no, I mean that shit. They tweeted out something like, "Hey, just to let you guys know, it was a big success. We got all the information we needed, all the data that we needed. Thank you guys for participating." And they, I mean, I guess part of the stress test is make sure your backend code works, but then also like stressing the servers. But it didn't have anything to do with the servers. The backend code was fucked up, and I talked to people afterwards that you know fucking aren't part of the team, but they are very much involved with Predecessor, and they said the same thing. They said, yeah, the back end shit was fucked up. I mean, it's what it is, and you could just tell from queuing up. Like I had one game where I got a cue to pop, and I was like, oh shit, and somebody in my chat, which was really stupid for me to listen to him, was like, yo, I heard if you wait, for the thing to go like halfway up, the match, give it time, on the before you hit accept and do a little rain dance and turn in a circle, that you'll have better chances of getting in the game basically. So I waited. I was the last person in that lobby to hit accept, right? It was 9 people had already readied up. I was the last one in that lobby, and I was waiting to hit accept, and it just populated somebody into the game, and I was like, wait a minute. That motherfucker took my, it's like I got cut in line, dude. I was pissed. I was like, wait a minute, dude. That's their back end. Their back end's fucking borked. Like there's something's wrong with it. So, and that's what it ended up being, was that their back end code was really fucked up and wasn't able to scale to the amount of players that they needed it to. So, and that's my issue, right? Because they tweeted that out and we're like, hey, big success. You guys stressed the servers. It's okay. Well, it wasn't a success. We didn't stress the servers. We stressed your coding, and that shit fucked up. I feel like I don't know, maybe it's just like a general life thing, but at least in my life, the way that I have always been taught, and I feel like it's a better practice, maybe not in business, but just in general, is to, if you fuck up, own it. I'd be like, hey, yo, look, we're sorry. It didn't go too hot. Our back end coding was fucked. We're gonna have to shut it down early. We'll try to do another one of these soon, right? Just hit somebody with a message like that, and boom, at least you're being honest, and people can expect a certain level of transparency from you. Because right now, I think that that's my biggest issue with them as a company, is there's just no transparency with them whatsoever. And if we do get some information, it's always um, almost exaggerated, I guess, to make people more hype. Oh shit, they got Steve on the team. And it's like, no, that's not true. Like, oh shit, they got this awesome deal with this company doing their back end coding, and it's all positive. It's like, yeah, I don't know, maybe at the end of the day, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing for them, but that just sounds like you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing with that stuff, and you had to get somebody else to come in and fix it because it was so fucked. So I don't know. It's the way they phrase stuff is always vague,
yeah,
and
because
I
it's a
wish it would.
like
Wish
with
it
me, I'm
wasn't.
reading the article right now. It says like following our last stress test, we're extremely disappointment that our back end infrastructure didn't hold up to what we expected. Over 20,000 people tried to participate once the server went live, which was
Right.
which was increased from the previous closed alpha. our main issue was matchmaking was struggling to keep up with the volume of players wanted to play. Meanwhile, the proposal of the stress test was to find out our limits. We apologize again. We have we know many of you were looking to play Predecessor. We are still deeply humbled by your support. We can't wait to welcome you back. Try out Predecessor soon. So
Right. And see, they say it there, but they didn't say it
when that happened,
when it happened, and I don't understand that. It's like why not just own it, man? Like fuck, like you that it's not like they didn't know what the problem was when it was happening during the stress test. So it just seems like this is better practice to own it, especially if you're just gonna come back later and say like, hey, yo, like this was actually wrong with this shit. It's like okay,
oh
but
well, remember, yeah. I mean, you got the person who deals with like not marketing with like their social medias and stuff, and
that's
so
Taiga, right?
that's Tyga. So you know what I mean.
Right.
Like Tyga can't say so say whoever like owns a Meta Studios, they're like you can't say this because you know what I mean. Like they don't want to accept or they don't want to make it sound like as bad as it should be. So it's like say it in a way where you know what I mean makes it like just it wasn't our fault. It was our fault, but it wasn't our fault. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
so you know what I mean. Kind of you're stuck between a hard place in that. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, for sure. But I mean, I think that's why I don't think it is coming from him, but whoever's making the decisions on like what flies and what doesn't, on what gets posted. Like that's my issue. Those people maybe need to be a little bit more transparent, or let Tyga be a little bit more transparent with people.
You
So,
seen you seen the end of the year update or the blog at least?
I did look at it.
I
And it
what
went over like visual updates for the map and stuff like that, right?
what's your thoughts on that? Because visual wise, it looks I like well predecessor always visualize has been always look it looks like
Yeah, it
top
looks
notch.
good.
It's top
Yeah.
notch. You know what I mean compared to like the other ones. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. It's just
No, it looks no, you're right. No, I think that the one thing that they've always done right with their game is that it looks good and then also feels pretty smooth to play, right? Like it feels good, looks good, right? So I mean I think that that's great. I don't I don't personally give too many fucks about that because like I don't I play on lift settings anyway, so I ain't gonna see that. I ain't gonna experience that. But uh I mean it's always a positive if you can increase the graphics without fucking the performance up of the game, then that's never a bad thing. But
yeah.
um,
I think yeah. I don't want to. We can talk about that. We can talk about that when another game comes out. We're talking about making it look beautiful, but
fucking the perform, yeah,
yeah,
like the
fucking
last
up the.
patch default, tanking
Oh
the
man,
FPS. That shit's rough. Yeah,
yeah, that is rough. I have a 3070, so I don't feel those effects that much. You know what I mean? But
I
damn,
I think I'd have to look. I don't remember what graphics card I fucking got, but I did get like an okay one. But I still play on low settings, and I haven't had any FPS problems, but I lock my shit at 60. So I mean, but it stays consistent at 60, so I can't complain about it either. But
yeah, no. And then you know what I mean? Like, what else? What else? So they showed off some music menus, samplers, first blood, and all that stuff. I got it. I heard a little bit of it, and I was like, all right, it looked good. I heard
yeah,
it, and I was like, I'm down with it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
Tyga did all the voice announcements, didn't he, for the game? I'm
Yeah,
pretty
he
sure he did.
did. He's an announcer. I was like, oh, I could dig with this.
Yeah,
And then you seen the little like what was it like? I don't know, cue cards. I would say cue cards of the heroes and stuff and the items. Like
I looked at some of them, but I didn't really look too hard at them.
Like for
But I know,
example, like Kalari, like her old ult is guillotine is backwards, a dash which cuts through targets to do massive damage. Like those little like highlighted points and stuff.
right? But that's I'm pretty sure that's what her ult was in.
back in
like in the
Legacy,
stress.
yes.
Well, yeah. But I'm pretty sure that's not new information that they released because I thought that her ult was still that dash. I could be wrong though. I don't know, but I thought in Predecessor, the last stress test, her ult was that dash, and she didn't have the teleport lock on ult, which is I I'm always down for that. The teleport shit is fucking cancer. So I'd rather
Oh,
not have an assassin be able to fucking
teleport across the map. Like,
yeah gank me map when I'm playing ADC and I just want to like farm a wave alone. But
nah, you know what I mean. Like, if I only was, I don't know what to tell you because I ain't played the last stress test. Unfortunately, you know what I mean. That's kind of crazy. If I would have.
it was. I mean, the one game that I played was good. Like I enjoyed it. It was good. I mean, like I said, the the thing that I once again think that they've always done well is the game looks good and it feels good to play. Right. The last stress test that we played, like, and I think that they've made changes to address some of these concerns since the stress test. But I nothing wrong with the graphics, nothing wrong with how the game played. Everything was smooth, everything was great. You know, felt like butter. Right. It was nice. The items were also interesting because there's a lot of them, and they there's a lot of interesting actives and stuff like that. I don't. I mean, I only play one game, so I have no idea how what the balance was like. If there's any characters that are just like super overtuned with certain items because there's just so many variables. So yeah, I don't know anything about that.
From the
But
one
I
I,
just
my bad.
oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Nah, I was gonna say from the one I played back. What was it? Back, I think it was last year. Yeah, I think it was back in last year. Narbash just, if I forgot what item it was. It was like chucking people, bro. I remember that. I was like, yo.
Yeah, yeah. We had some clips of that. That was one of the support items. It was like it's basically like spell thieves in League. It has like three procs, so when you hit somebody, you get gold, and it does a little bit of damage, right?
A little
But
bit.
there's a yeah, but so the problem was that there was an item called combustion that like was an on hit effect for AP and did quite a bit of damage. And when you mixed it with that support item, like all three procs would go off at once,
Oh,
and that each combustion would proc off of each of those stacks. So you would be procking combustion three times off of one ability, and you were like level 4, just coming in, you know, after you got the item or whatever, maybe a little bit later than that. Level 4, level 5. I remember I had the item one of those games, and I just thunked somebody their ADC, and it did like 80% of their health.
Jesus.
It's like holy shit. But no, I mean, I think I didn't. Once again, I only play one game. I didn't notice any sort of bugs or anything like that. There's a few like weird interactions with some of the items, but I mean, I think that they're pretty good about like fixing that stuff, from what I can tell. But my main issue with the game back then was just that the map is so small, the movement speed is so high, the attack speed was like fucking cracked. Like level 1, it's like impossible to miss CS. You you could just roam, and then I think they did address the waves. It was also like impossible to push your wave in because they just the intervals, the how fast the minions moved and the intervals at which they spawned at just created like this weird thing where waves were like either stacking up too fast and too they were getting too big, or like you just couldn't push. If you tried to burn a wave down, by the time you killed that wave, the next wave was already there, and your wave would only move up, you know, a few feet, and that kind of sucked. But
from
so I mean, it's just like some core gameplay things that I didn't like from the last stress test. But other than that, everything was
from
all right.
from what I'm trying to remember it right, but that test they're putting out, that's not their final test, right? It's just like like a test map, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Are you talking about the map or
Yeah,
the
the
last?
map.
I mean, I think eventually they will do another map, but that's not. I I mean, I could be wrong. I don't have any sort of information on it, but I don't think that
is their final
map
map, right?
is no, it's not their final map, but I don't think we can expect to see a new map anytime soon from any of these games because that is a huge undertaking and it is a ton of work. So
Yeah.
I I would expect them to come out with this map that they have when they come out on EA. There's no doubt in my mind that it'll be on that map, to be honest. Um, and I would expect at least for a year that we would be playing on that map. I don't know. The other thing too is that I mean they have to judge like priorities, right? Like what when they release, if they don't have a lot of characters or whatever the whatever the community is kind of asking for or wants, they'll probably prioritize those things over a map if nobody's complaining about the map. So
We're gonna be more what balancing, if anything, heroes. That's where most of the people are gonna be bugging out. Heroes, balancing, and items, pretty much.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest. This maybe sounds like a hot take, but I think that like 90% of the people that complain about balance in the Paragon community are just fucking stupid asses and they just have no idea what they're talking about. It's just like I don't think that if you look at like Gen Chat for Fault or Gen Chat of Predecessor and people are throwing out balance ideas, I think you just take those balance ideas and you go, and you just throw it in the trash. That's what you do. That's you just listen to the people that I wouldn't listen to me, so I'm not saying that, but I'm saying whatever like group of if you have a group of people that are like competent, that understand balance, maybe just listen to them. So
No, but no, yeah, that's why you got your team. And that's why you got the testers. You know what I mean? You won't release something that's untested. You know what I mean? God forbid. You know what I mean?
so
But
that and just going off of like data, I feel like is the best way of doing it, right? Because like there's so many times where like somebody, I mean, there's more to it than like win rates, right? But somebody like Riot with League, they balance pretty heavily off of like win rates. So if something has like a 50% win rate, it's probably pretty balanced, So all the people that are, and I see it all the time with Fault, you have the same thing where like people would be like, "Oh, this character is fucking busted," and they've got like a 48% win rate, and it's like, "Oh, I don't think so." Like, I don't think maybe you're just bad. So you're just complaining about some character that you just can't work around or something. You have no idea how to deal with it. So
no, it's always good, to release a hero that's kind of like OP, so then you can just scale it back. You're like, all right, like for example, I don't want to go back to Fault, but for example, Fault and Phase release OP, and then with these couple patches, you fix them, and then I mean, she was fine. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I mean, I agree. I think the issue with that was they they released her and she was bugged. So a lot of her OP-ness came from her being bugged and just not working as intended. Because I have a lot of clips where I just R&B'd somebody in art and they just died from full health. So
No, it's yeah. But
it was
you know what I mean.
gross.
But overall, I guess what would you get? What would you get if you give anything to Pride? What type of grade would you give it? Or ending this year basically with all the information that we were able to obtain, and what I mean, in the one game that you're able to play in the play test or server
Um,
stress test.
I mean, I'd see. I don't know. You talking about like how well they did overall this year
Yeah,
in
yeah, pretty
development?
much.
Like,
Well, just in general, I guess.
okay, I mean maybe like a B. I don't know, like a low B. I think that they,
They could definitely improve in their.
yeah, like what
Uh,
I said earlier, that their transparency, it's like always bugged me. Their like vagueness and trying to make things kind of like sound a little bit better than they are. Like I myself personally would just prefer a company that would come out and be like, "Hey yo, we fucked up," or like, "Hey yo, we've got this guy joining as like a consultant, right? He's not part of the team, but consultant advisor. But we're gonna be communicating with him, often, something like that. I mean, it's like a little gripe. It's not really a big deal, but I mean, I would prefer getting a message like that. Where it's like, okay, cool, like that's awesome. Did they got this guy instead of like now everybody in the community believes that this dude is like in the team every day in meetings with them, like, oh, we got to do this. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not quite that. So, and I think that um, there, we've people have talked about this in fault before, but you can do that, and you can go like the route, the strategy that they've been going in terms of like trying to hype things up as much as possible. What happens is that if you release and you don't meet those expectations, then people get ticked off. They get pissed. So I think that that has potential for backlash if you overplay that card, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think that you know the stress test, yeah, that sucked, but that's whatever. I mean, that's kind of I would expect something like that to happen. I fully expect when they release on EA to have issues, right? So that's not out of the ordinary by any means, but that sucked. Once again, I would have appreciated them being a little bit more transparent about it. And just in general, I think they're maybe squandering their opportunity by waiting so long. I think that once they get this back end coding fixed and done, they should just fucking push the button and send it. You know what I mean? I personally think that they should just release it for EA and let people fucking play it and just. I think that they're in a good position now, and the longer they wait, at this point, it's just gonna be more of a detriment to them or a negative thing.
All right, and then what do you think next year? We finally get a early access for it, or
I hope, I
in some
fucking
type
hope
of way.
so. If it doesn't come out next year, then I won't give a fuck about it anymore. I'll be like, you know what? Fuck this shit, man. No, I mean, I think that probably it will come out hopefully by the first half of next year. I think if they wait any longer than that, that's just really bad for them. So the thing that they're doing, I think, if they wait too long, is they're just giving fault time to catch up and get into that state where people like are like, okay, wait a minute, this game is like getting better, and I mean, this last patch we had, not to take this to fault, but I mean, this has to do with Pred, but last patch that we had with fault, the game looks a lot better, right? So like now all of the casual players that give a shit about that stuff are gonna be like, oh, wait a minute, like that looks nice, and it's giving them more time to put more content in the game, stuff like that. Uh, right now, I feel like they have an advantage. And if they release right now, they could do pretty well. But if they wait long enough for Fault to kind of come up even with them in terms of what people seem to want, content, graphics, like smoothness of the game, stuff like that. They give them time to catch up to them. Then when they release, people are gonna be like, "Well, wait a minute, like this doesn't seem any better than Fault, or if it does, maybe it's just a little bit." But I just, I don't know. I think that they're just losing people at this point. The longer they wait. What's up, Love?
Yeah, I feel you. Nah, you know what I mean. Like, I I hope they come out with an early access, no matter if it's paid or whatever. How they're gonna do it, you know what I mean. Next year, definitely. If not, you're letting others basically grow. No, no,
Right.
no matter if it's fault or if it's even over prime. You know what I mean. But like, the more you wait, the more it's gonna hurt you in the long run. In my, like you said.
Yeah, I think that Overprime is like the wild card because I think that game is either gonna do piss poor and nobody's gonna play it, or it's I don't think it's gonna have a middle ground. I think it's either gonna be like people are gonna fucking love it, or it's just gonna do nothing, right? So I think that that's like another thing that they should probably be thinking about because I at this point think that Overprime's probably going to release before them. So if they are the last one to release and they're not substantially better than the others, they might kind of lose a large player base. Because I guarantee you, somebody that is playing these games casually isn't gonna want to buy Paragon 3 times. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they've bought Fault and they're playing that and they're just waiting for Pred to come out and then Overprime comes out and that's not free to play. That's gonna, well, I don't know, but I think that it is gonna be paid EA as well. And they're like, okay, well, let me try that out, and then they pay for that game, and then Predecessor comes out, and they're like, God damn it, guys! Like, fuck you, you guys are bleeding me, man. Like, I don't want to buy Paragon for a third time. So,
Yeah, we just don't know. You know what I mean? But like, you know what I mean? We got our. We just hope that they come out sooner or later. And then, you know what I mean? And any last any last remarks of you gotta say to them, I guess.
um, I guess just don't wait too long. Just get get the back end coding tightened down and secured and squared away, and release the damn game. 'Cause people are people want to play it. So
I feel you. You know what I mean? All right, man. That's gonna be episode 10, part one, I guess, for a recap of 2021 with beginning with Predecessor, I guess Fall, and then ending with Overprime. If I'm able to get one, able to get anybody that has knowledge of that, because I have no knowledge of Overprime, so that's gonna be a big oof on me. But yeah, man, thank you, Sockcap, for coming.
yeah, no problem, man.
You know what I mean? You're always welcome.
Yeah, I enjoy talking about these games because I don't have hobbies. So so I'm always down to talk about these games for sure. So
All right, then Sutin for part two later of this week, and then I guess you have a catchphrase or not?
I don't have a catchphrase, no.
All right, so I'm gonna my previous host, co-host, I guess at least his catchphrase would be like "Get out of bronze." So you know what I mean.